Hello everyone. This week I examined the ProQuest historical newspaper database to pick a special historical event and organize a historical presentation around it, or at least conceptualize what I would do for a historical presentation. The event that I chose was actually the moon landing. With the recent renewed interest in space exploration, and since NASA launched the Artemis thing that blew up news worldwide, I figured that would be a relevant topic to kind of tie in. But for this topic, I found a number of different newspapers from the immediate days after the moon landing occurred. The first newspaper was entitled "Millions Around the World Hail Lunar Landing, Follow It on TV, Moon Landing Seen Around the World, War News Stops with Our Prayers, Euphoria in Warsaw, 500 million watch." Some of these titles were very long, but this article was posted by the Washington Post, and it explained the moon landing, how it occurred, just a general moon landing article, and it quoted important figures. The next paper, though, was "Moon Landing Stirs Elation, Astronauts' Feat Greeted by Worldwide Goodwill." This specific article focuses solely on the reactions of people from around the world in different locations, from London to the Pope to the Soviets and even the Middle East. And I feel like this article is useful because very often we talk about the American perspective of the moon landing, but this one shows how the moon landing not only united Americans, but also people around the world to this just human feat. The next newspaper that I found was called "Moon Landing Time Chart." This was also posted by the Washington Post on the day after the landing occurred, and it broke down each significant moment of the moon landing. And it was just time of breakdown for people to read. But another article was entitled "Impossible Moon Landing of Victory for America," and this article discussed how the moon landing affected Americans, specifically middle-class Americans. There were two other articles that I felt would also be interesting to include. The first was "Alarm Preceded Landing on the Moon, Overworked Computer Signal Sent Raising Prospect of Boarding Mission Alarm Preceded Apollo 11 Landing on the Moon," and this was from the New York Times. Basically, this article discussed an alarm that occurred before the moon landing got a chance to happen that almost canceled the entire mission. So I thought it would be interesting kind of to see how, that little things can make a big difference and stuff like this. Then the other article was entitled "Moon Landings Called Safer Than Landings at New York." This article, which was released by The Sun, claimed that moon landings would soon become safer than landing at many of the United States, the nation's airports. And I felt this article was interesting because it did a little comparison between two large agencies, the Federal Aviation Administration and NASA, while revealing some of the insights into everyday people and what they kind of hoped for with the next step of space travel. And you can kind of see where we did and did not go with space travel from there. After gathering all these articles, I think I would focus a historical presentation around a local history society audience with the goal of showing how the press turned the moon landing into a shared global moment. I don't think that I would do a much larger group or a much more specialized group. I think it would be mainly focused on everyday people and kind of garnering a better understanding and building off of that excitement from Artemis. But I would frame the discussion around three key things: the sense of global unity, the technical achievement and risk involved in the mission, and the optimism that people had for the future of space exploration. By examining newspaper articles, the presentation would demonstrate not only what happened during the moon landing, but also how people understood its significance at the time. So that's kind of the topic that I would look at for a project like this, just because I feel like it's relevant with Artemis and what's going on with the next steps, this renewed interest. So that's pretty much it for me, and I'll see you guys next week. Thank you.